block is hot. The block is hot.
It's all finally happening.
I see you, entrepreneur.
So I met with the team. We're good to go.
Yo, that's what's up.
I'm really excited to just
Change your game, boy. I'm finna go crazy.
If this doesn't go well, it could cost us.
They did have a couple of notes.
What you mean notes?
Can you keep up?
What's going on, fam? It's your man VACAY-J, and if you're new and you're loving Insecure, definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Absolutely like, comment below with any theories, any thoughts, and we're gonna get into episode 2 of the final season of Insecure on HBO. So absolutely, this is the final season, so we're gonna recap all of the episodes, and if you missed any episodes, definitely go ahead and check out my recap for episode 1 for the final season of Insecure. So let's get into episode 2. And this was a very interesting episode, to say the least. We're going to get into everything that Issa D is going through, but also what Molly is going through as well. So the focus is on them this time. So let's talk about it. Here's the description. The name of the episode is Growth Okay. It says Molly contemplates jumping back into the dating pool, while Issa, struggling to find her footing at work, leans on an old friend. So we see in the beginning of the episode, you know, Molly and Issa and them back in the day. And now we're looking at 1 year later, and we see Issa waking up, not looking too happy that she's waking up to the day again. She's still trying to figure out her life. Her alarms are going off, and, you know, she's really trying to figure it all out. So she goes and she brushes her teeth, and she sees that her company, The Block, has now got 10,000 followers. So you already know from that last event from last season, it definitely blew up. So she's definitely happy about that. And with having 10,000 followers and people now knowing about The Block, she's definitely going to get some more business. Molly is now meditating. Looks like she cut her hair and she's now meditating, you know, listening to Kelly Rowland talking about, you know, you can't change what's on the outside, but you could definitely change what's going on within. So we're going to get more into details with that. Now we see Molly at work, and, you know, they're saying that they need somebody to rebrand, you know, the Retreat Project. So she's now volunteering. You know, she's doing stuff out of the norm that she normally does, but she definitely has a new haircut. She's looking like she's trying to make a change within her own life. So now we look at this book signing going on. It looks like Issa went to a book signing. A lady comes out and she's like, yeah, I love these book signings. And she says that, you know, what Issa did with her Block event definitely changed her life. It makes her feel real awkward. So now we shoot back. Molly and Issa, you know, they're drinking some wine and trying to watch a movie, but Molly is super tired, you know, from all that work that she's been doing. Definitely Molly and Issa is getting together as far as friends again and being really cool with each other again after, you know, the last episode. They definitely bonded within the last episode with getting robbed and going to that Stanford reunion, right? So now we shoot over to the barbershop, and we got your boy Nathan and his partner at the barbershop. And they talk about doing an event. They want the event to be big, just like Issa's last event. This is their 1 year anniversary as far as their barbershop, and they're talking about getting things together, you know, and where they're going to do it at. And one of the guys is like, yeah, we could do it in the parking lot, but you just got to work one shift. And, you know, Nathan's like, man, you know, we're going to get this thing together. So, you know, Nathan definitely, he still has an interest in Issa and all of that. And he wants to talk more about, you know, the party. But she's like, listen, you want to talk more about it? You definitely got to feed me, you know, so it can't be cheap. So they end up going to a restaurant. And they start talking about the project and everything. And she is still talking about how, you know, she has this big project coming up and she's excited about it. And, you know, they definitely want to do some things together. But you see the chemistry going on. They still have a little chemistry going on. And it looks like, you know, the restaurant is winding down and they're putting candles out. And they're saying, you know, they're trying to change the mood. And Nathan's like, yeah, it looks like it's working. So we're going to see what's going on with them. Again, we see that chemistry going with them. You know, they were messing around before, but we'll see what happens in this season. Then we shoot over to a birthday party, right? 7th birthday party for Isaac. And we got, you know, all the family there. And we have Molly's family. and Molly's talking to her parents about, getting their estate planning together. And, they're like, yeah, we got it together. So they pretty much wrote down their will on a piece of paper. And of course, Molly, being the lawyer that she is, she's like, yo, you actually really got to get into it. You got to make it legal, get some legal documents together and everything else like that. And then enter in Herbert. Herbert's like, hey, how you doing, Molly? And of course, you see, Molly's mom trying to hook Molly up because Molly's been out of the dating scene for a while. Come to find out that, they know each other from way back from church. And, now he's remixing gospel with trap music. Of course, Molly is not feeling that her mom is trying to hook her up. And Molly's basically telling her mom in the kitchen, hey, listen, I just want to do my own thing. I really don't need a hookup. I appreciate you trying to do it. And her mom is like, listen, by the time you get married, your father's going to be rolling down the aisle because he's going to be old. Here comes Herbert running into the kitchen. He's like, hey, here's one of my songs that are remixed as far as gospel trap music. So he's playing it. And her mom is definitely cheering him on, trying to definitely, put him in good graces with Molly, but she's not feeling it at all. Now let's shoot over to a presentation. We got Issa D and her assistant telling this sponsor about Crenshaw. And Crenshaw is an artist. He designs clothes, and he definitely designed clothes and started in jail. And now that he's out of jail, he's reforming his life. He has reformed his life and has created some incredible, gear. And he's from Crenshaw, from the inner city. And she definitely wants them to sponsor him for an event to display his artistry, to display his clothes. So they feel it, right? Everybody's clapping. She does a great job. Absolutely, for Crenshaw. And that's the name of his company, Crenshaw Clothing Company. And definitely he's pretty dope, right? So, of course, the execs, they roll over to Issa and they're saying how they're feeling the whole project, that he is a new artist. And, they definitely want to do something with him. But because he's a new artist, they don't know if he's going to be attracting, the crowd that they're looking for, because they're a brand new company themselves. But Issa is like, listen, we can do whatever it takes. And she lets him know that we can make it happen. We can make it happen. So they said we could do it with some notes. So Issa goes to Molly's house and they're talking about the project. And Molly's like, yeah, I agree with you. How is a new artist really going to make it if nobody gives him a chance? So they're talking about the whole situation. And she tells Issa how her mom is trying to hook up with this guy, Herbert, from church. She's like, show me a picture. And Issa's like, okay, I see what his daddy looks like. What does he look like? And she keeps showing him the picture because that's him. Like, he's looking kind of old. So now Molly, again, is contemplating jumping on the dating scene. So she goes on the app and she's trying to do it online now. And they're asking her dating her is like. And then she's thinking about all her dating life back in the day. But she's only thinking about, the negative sides and how they're telling her that she's too much and how she doesn't let anything go. And she's just thinking about all the bad sides of herself that she has been told in her past dating life. So she's really, looking at that and really trying to change herself so she could be better for the dating scene to find someone. Meanwhile, Issa D is sitting down with one of the other execs that she wants them to sponsor, Crenshaw, and she enters in now Seth. She didn't want Seth to be there because Seth wanted to change things up. And she is like, oh, okay, it's good that Seth is here. So she sits down with them and, she lets them know she knows that they have concerns because he's a new artist. They're thinking about bringing other artists in. And she's like, listen, they're like, listen, we're a brand new company if things go wrong. But she's like, listen, if things go right, you guys can be the first company to break Crenshaw into the entire industry if it goes right. Right. So they talk about it. And Issa definitely convinces them to go with Crenshaw as being the main artist to be displayed at this fashion event. Right. So now Issa shoots over to Crenshaw, his company, clothing company. And we see, one of the workers that was probably in jail with him was like, yo, man, I don't mean to be a snitch, but your boy over there is sneaking in snacks. Right. So, Your boy Crenshaw is like, listen, man, it's okay. We're not in jail no more. You can eat snacks too. You're free. You're a free man. Okay. So now Issa gives him the good news that, yeah, they're going to go with him as far as being the main artist for the show. So he's excited about it. He's like, yo, we going to represent. But she's like, listen, they do have a couple of notes. They do want to cut back on, some of, all the things that you're trying to do, the perseverance part, which has the low riders. And he's like, man, that's the greatest part. He said, listen, man, I don't know if this is going to work. But she's like, nah, I went over and above to convince them. So I believe we can make this thing happen. I believe in you. I believe in your project. So he's like, listen, man, we'll do what we got to do. We'll do what we got to do. So they agree upon doing it, with the notes, with a couple of things that they want to cut back on. The company wants to cut back on, right? So they agree upon that. And then we see your boy in the corner, and Crenshaw's like, yo, man, just eat the sandwich, man. You don't got to sneak. Now we shoot over to Molly's house, and Molly's calling her mom, and she's like, listen, I want to, definitely apologize for being so hard on you with the estate planning and everything. And, mom is like, listen, you don't have to apologize. I know how you are. I know this is important that you make sure that we have everything together and all of that. And, she really is concerned about her parents and everything, but she's also trying to, cut back on being so hard on people. Then her mom is like, hey, listen, Herbert, you definitely need to call Herbert. She's like, all right, I'm out of here. She's talking about how she saw Herbert at the beach, and she's like, nah, mom, hanging up, right? Now we go to the California African American Museum, where they are getting everything together for this fashion event for Crenshaw, right? So MBW, they definitely are sponsoring. They're behind the whole event, so they're getting things together. And Issa's there with Molly, and they're, talking about how, yeah, Crenshaw has to cut back on some things, and she definitely has some concerns, but it looks like it's going to be a good show. So a lady comes over to interview Issa. While she's telling them about Crenshaw, her assistant comes up and says, hey, we have a problem with Crenshaw, right? So they go to the back and they see that everything that they said that they was going to cut out, Crenshaw put back in. And he's like, listen, it didn't feel right, so I'm putting it back in the show. And she's like, yo, we got a sponsor to answer to. And he's like, no, you have a sponsor to answer to. This is my passion. This is what I want. You said you believe in me, but it looks like you don't believe in me. You just believing in, just making sure the sponsors are all taken care of. He's like, listen, this is what we're going to do for the show. And that's it. I didn't tell you because I knew you would try to convince me or tell me to do something different. So he basically goes rogue, and she's like, oh, he went rogue? Yeah, he's just going to do whatever he wants to do. So, dude comes out, they're walking out, showing some fashion, and Molly's like, this is not that bad. And then some sirens go off. They're like, oh, damn. So now the guys come out with some drums, some neon drums, and they're like, oh, wow, uh-oh, what's going to happen? And they get real aggressive with it, and they come out with the neon, and then the guy from the company, the sponsorship is there, and they come out with some real different fashion, right? He is sitting there looking pretty uncomfortable about it. Issa's like, look at him. He can't even sit still. Like, he's so uncomfortable about this. Like, he's probably cringing in his seat, looking at everything. And he, definitely sees something different going on, but he definitely looks uncomfortable. So Seth rolls up to Issa and he's like, hey, listen, I saw the show and it was definitely different. But at the same time, you didn't look at the notes, but it blew my mind. It definitely blew my mind. So Seth is definitely impressed, even though, they didn't cut back on what they said they was going to cut back on. But he thanked her for, pushing the envelope, and thanked her for, just going against the notes because, they definitely weren't used to all of that. So, she's looking at Crenshaw. Crenshaw is doing an interview. He's like, they're saying great job. They're definitely bigging him up. But he's looking at her like, see, I told you. You just got to go with my passion. And of course, she feels kind of bad about it because, she was definitely trying to push for what the sponsors wanted instead of what the artist wanted. So she's feeling pretty low, and she texts Nathan, for them to get up and get a drink or something like that, because she's feeling pretty low right now because she was really pushing Crenshaw to do something else, but he went with his passion. Meanwhile, we shoot over and we see Molly is trying to date. So she got a little date going on. Dude comes in. And again, Molly's trying to change and just be open and not as, stringent, not as like, stiff with it. She's trying to loosen up so she can get back on the scene, so she can have somebody in her life. Now we see Nathan and Issa. He obviously came over to her house. They're drinking some wine. He's like, yo, it sounds like everything went well, for the most part. Everything went well. And she, again, was just like, thanks for coming over, because I did feel bad about what's happening. He's like, okay, cool. He's about to walk out, and she's like, hey, why don't you just stay over, right? She's like, hey, might as well just stay over or whatever. So she wanted somebody to cuddle up with. So he's like, all right, cool. So they get in bed and, they start to make out and all that. So looks like, they about to smash some cheeks, right? But she turns around and starts crying, and it's definitely an awkward position. And she's like, I'm sorry, with everything going on, I thought I was ready. So she's definitely, in a sensitive place right now. And he's like, it's okay. And he tries to comfort her, but definitely the mood is definitely changed. And they go to sleep, and she wakes up, and, Nathan, looks like Nathan, he left, right? He left because, he knows that she needs some time. At the same time, it definitely was an awkward position to be in to see her like that. So we end the episode with her just like trying to deal with her own feelings about everything. So that is the end of episode 2. And absolutely, this has everything to do with your boy Lawrence, right? With everything that's happening, she still has to deal with those feelings. And we're going to see what's happening for the next episode and the entire season. And it looks like the next episode is now going to deal with everything that's happening with Lawrence. So that's the end of the episode. Absolutely drop your thoughts, your theories. Was there anything that I missed? Anything that I need to cover? Definitely let me know. And again, this is the recap for episode 2 for Insecure. And we got another episode coming tomorrow, episode 3. So definitely look out for the recap of that. So you know what it is. It's your man, VACAY-J. I appreciate your love and your support. Absolutely. I'm out. Salute.